Well, hello, Stampers. It's the Pampered Stamper, and welcome to the third monthly video tutorial from Stampin' Haven. Natalie and I are so excited to have you here, and thank you for purchasing this tutorial. I hope you're enjoying it. Each of us do 2 cards, and I'm actually doing 1 card and 1 note card or recipe folio. So it's a little bit different. I hope you love it. Before I get started on my video showing you what I'm doing, I'm also going to show you some other cards that I made with this suite so that you can be inspired. We're using, I keep forgetting it because I always want to call it To Market. And I think that's what the suite is called, To Market. But it's called Market Goodness. So that's backwards, but I'll show you in a minute. So we're using the Market Goodness stamp set, the To Market suite. So let's have a peek. All right, so that is the stamp set, and I think I've zoomed in too far, so let's just zoom out for a little bit. And it's just a great set. There's some wonderful dies with it. We chose it for the month of August because August is a time when things are ripening in the garden. So it's a perfect time to go to farm markets, market stands, and to harvest from your own garden if you have one. I have herbs in my garden. I have dill and parsley, and thyme and coriander, that's what they call it here in Holland, cilantro, which you either love or you hate, and basil. So those are the things I have in my garden, and flowers. I love flowers. I'd love vegetable garden, but that's just not in the cards for me. So here are the dies. This is kind of a fun die, the market bag, the open netted bag. And then there's a die for the cabbage, the carrots, the tomatoes, the radish or the onion, some flowers, this one is like for the greenery for the carrot, and a little bow and some flowers. So I haven't used the flowers or the bow, I have to say. But here are some of the cards that I've made. Now, I originally had this card like this, and I love it like this. I think it's a really cool, I look at it now and I think I put this thing on just slightly crooked, but you know what? It took me, not sure. Maybe it's because it's there. I don't think it's crooked. It was just the lines that were messing me up. This is a large Memories and More card. Now you can also, this is a little tip for the flowers that come in the pattern paper. You can fussy cut them, and it's fun to tie some linen thread around the bow. Yeah. So I think this also looks nice. Now, I want to do a poll, so tell me which one you like better, with or without the bunch of flowers. When I look at it like this, I think without. I could just put this in the inside like so. I think that might be the better idea. Okay, I think I've answered my own question, but I would love to hear what you think. So that's card number 1. This is card number 2, which I think is great. If you're a member of my YouTube channel platform, this was a card for them. And then I just finished the inside with a strip of paper. This one was cased from the catalog, except I added a spatter, which I like. And this is a great tip for your blends. If your blends are kind of worn out, my brush tip for this one is kind of worn out, but it's still juicy. So if you give it a good hard tap like this, then you get a nice spatter. Okay, so that's my tip for you. This was one of my sketch challenge cards, so you can see it on my Pampered Stamper Facebook page and on YouTube. If you go to page 22 of the annual catalog, you'll see all kinds of sketches, and this is one of them. So I thought, and here you can see the bag. Isn't that fun? Now, if you've joined in on our monthly free Zoom call, then you will have seen these cards as well. This is another one for the sketch challenge. This is sketch number 11. I think that's really cool. I didn't do anything in the inside. And then this one is one that I've done this card for my YouTube channel members. And it's an explosion gatefold card. Are you ready? Look at this. Isn't that fun? I was tempted to put this one in our video this month, but it's Natalie's turn to do the fancy fold, and it's my turn to do the technique. So, all right, so those are the cards. And now this is going to be my technique card. And the technique that I'm using is called masking. And it's also a little bit of paper piecing maybe. Okay. But it's just masking really, which is simple. But I thought this was a fun card. And you'll see, maybe you're worried, like this is sticking out above the card. Will it fit in the envelope? I checked and it does fit. In Europe anyway, the envelopes are quite a bit bigger than what the card is. So there's a little bit of wiggle room. So if it doesn't fit in your card, you can either make it a little bit smaller or just make it a card that you give in person. So let's get started. So we're going to use a crumb cake base, and then this white piece is 4 3/8 by 4 1/4. Okay, and we're going to start with pecan pie, and we're going to stamp this border all the way around first. So on the card base, I'm going to stamp in crumb cake, so it's tone on tone, and on the white piece, I'm going to stamp in pecan pie. So let's get that ready. So when you're using one of these skinny stamps, what you want to do is lay it down on your desk and then pick it up like so. And that way it's fairly straight. It's not going to be wobbly or bumpy. And that's what we want. So here we go. When you open up your ink pad, there's a little spot, there's indentations there to hold on, and then up it goes, and then slide it in. Okay. Now you don't want to press too hard when you're doing this. Just a light tap, tap, tap is all that you need. And now I'm going to go all the way along the bottom. I'm centering it. And the reason for that is that way when I turn it, I can go like so. And, oh, I went crooked. I might turn it around, give myself another chance, but you know what? You see this card here? If I put the tomatoes in that corner, you're not going to notice. So I'm trying to embrace the fact that good enough is good enough, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, give yourself a little bit of space for imperfection. And we're going to fill in that little X, don't you worry. Now here, I'm looking this time. There. So you guys probably saw me making the mistake as I was doing it, and maybe you were talking to me. I don't know. So now I'm going to clean it, and then I'm just going to ink up 2 X's so that I can fill in my little gaps. So you can see that my chamois been going along with me for quite a while. It's worn out, ugly, starting to crack. I thought I ordered a new one, but I must have ordered a new one in Canada. But you can also just cut it into 2 pieces. I've seen demonstrators do that. So that's an option. All right, so now I need 2 X's there. So I'm just going to carefully ink up 2. See? So 2 X's here. And then I have a gap for 1 X there. So now I got to clean it again, or you know what? I'll use the other side. And I'm just going to carefully ink up 1 X, which works more easily than you might think. There. Oh, and I need an X on this side. So this is a little bit fussy, but it's really not bad. There. That makes a really cute border, doesn't it? Yeah. And remember, the tomatoes are going to go on this bottom corner that I messed up a little bit. Now, oh yeah, we're going to do I'm working a little bit unusually, maybe. We're going to do the bursting with happiness next, and then I'll be able to organize all these things just the way I want. Let's see. So the bursting with happiness is another one of those longer, skinny things that's kind of flimsy. So we lay it down, and then we pick it up with our block. And if you want a better way to stamp straight, then square yourself up to your paper. And I like to use grid paper. My stripe paper is crooked on my table, so that doesn't help. But I can line it up with this line up here. So we're going to stamp bursting with happiness in real red. And again, a light tap tap. You don't want ink all over your block. If the light tap tap isn't working to give you enough ink, that means it's time to re-ink your stamp. All right, so I'm going down a little bit. And then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Perfect. Okay, Now we're going to start having a little bit of fun. I'm going to do the easy stuff first. And the easy stuff means cutting out the basket and that gorgeous bag. It's in our paper. Let's see. You can tell, sorry, that I've already been playing with this. There's some pieces cut out already. And then I was going to cut this out ahead of time, and I thought, no, this should be part of the video. So what I do is I just cut around it quickly, and then I do the fussy cutting. That way I'm not working with this great big piece. So there's one. This one I've actually already cut out, so I'm going to save that one. I'm not going to cut out two. I mean, watching me cut is not that exciting. You can choose whether you want a white edge around it or not. I do not, okay? And if you do get a bit of a white edge that you don't want, you can just use a blending brush or whatever and brush a little bit of ink on it. That will also give you a little bit more depth of color. So I might do that with this one just for fun, just to show you the difference. Now, we're going to use this basket as a mask as well, and I'll show you why. Normally you would do this with a stamped image. You would see I've got a little piece of white here, and I should have just sponged it. Okay, maybe I won't sponge. So now we're going to take a sticky note. You can also get sticky notepads that are sticky all the way, which is really kind of handy. I don't think I have one here, so I'm just going to use this. I have it in Canada. This part is where it's sticky at the top. So I'm going to grab a pencil, if I can find one. Well, I don't feel like going for a big search for my pencil. Pencil is missing in action, so I'm going to use a pen. So what we're going to do is just trace around, and then I'm going to cut inside the lines. So that I'm just going to trace around this basket. But because that's on the outside, I'm going to cut inside the lines. The bottom part doesn't matter so much. So here we go. And the other thing is when I cut it out, I use 2 sheets of sticky notes because it's a little thicker. It's nicer to cut with. So we're going to cut inside the line, like so. You can see I've just cut that line off. And that way it will be a bit more accurate. The bottom part doesn't matter so much. And now I have 2 masks. That's the other benefit to using 2 sheets of this sticky note paper. Okay, so now we're going to take this. We're going to take our mask, like so, and we're going to lay it right down on our paper. And I'm going to stamp now some carrots and some tomatoes. Sorry, can't find my words. So here we go. We're going to do the carrots in pumpkin pie. Now, I found the tomatoes quite tricky, okay? I did not enjoy stamping the tomatoes. And I don't know if it's because my eyes are getting worse, but the 2-step stamping was a little tricky for me, and it didn't always line up perfectly. So we'll see how it does on the video. I will do my best. I might be out of the camera for a minute because I might want to just square myself up towards it. So these are going to go on a little bit of an angle, like so. And then we're going to do the tops. I like doing the top in Granny Apple Green. It's a really nice, fresh look. You know, it's a funny story about me. When you buy those beautiful carrots in the at the market stand, and they all have the greenery on it yet, and the greenery is all beautiful, I always feel bad cutting that off. Now, you could feed it to your rabbits if you had rabbits. I think you could even maybe use it in a stock, but I'm not sure. You guys are going to have to tell me. There. That's even a little bit crooked. And you could stamp again. See, that looks kind of cute, doesn't it? All right. I like that. So double stamp. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see the 2-tone. Look at that. Isn't that nice? All right. Now it's time for the tomatoes. Now, I found that if I did the green part of the tomatoes first, That seemed to work better for me. So let's see how I do. So first the green, and I use garden green for that, and then I use real red for the tomatoes. So here we go. Are you guys having a good summer? I hope so. I know some people are not having a good summer. My cousin has a cancer diagnosis that's really serious. And she's only a few years older than me. And you know what the lesson in that is? Go to the doctor as soon as you notice something different in your body. Do not wait. She waited way too long, and I feel so bad about that. Okay, so I've stamped these, and I'm going to have them, laying like this. A bit higher. All right, there we go. And now the tomato part. And sometimes I struggle. I'm not going to ink it up yet. I'm just going to lay it over top so you can see it. There. Actually, that works quite well. Now I'm going to ink it. See, maybe I've made it a bigger problem than what it really is. Okay. Tap, tap, tap on the red. Hover over, hover, till it looks right. I like to move it a little bit. I think it's this one here that gets me. But so I look for all three, and when the other three all look good, then I'm going to do it. All right, down we go. We're going to see if I made a mistake or not. It's not perfect. I can see that now. But it's good enough. And a trick, if you screw up like I just did, take your blender pen and just color it in a little bit, and then you can get closer to the green. See? There. It also fills in your red a little nicer. You can see I really kind of messed up. I didn't square myself up, but like I said, I do struggle with this. There. It's good enough. And now we're going to take this off. See? So now it's going to fit just perfectly like this. Nothing sticking out where it doesn't belong. And you could leave it like that, but I didn't like that white space there, so I tucked in a little die cut from the paper. So let's see which one we're going to use. Now I have to do another one of these, and I'm not too excited about that. It took me 3 attempts to get this one, okay? So I'm going to use the Stamparatus, I think, to stamp a bunch of them. And then these masks, you could just put them in your case, and then you can use them again. Like so. They're in my case now. I didn't show you that. Like here, sorry. There they are. Okay, so then we're going to cut out the cabbage and another one of these, and I might just cut out the tomatoes. Let's just have a look, see. Okay, so I cheated a little bit. I decided that I wasn't going to stamp another tomato. I cut them out from the paper. So look, this paper has a bunch of dies. We've got the tomato die, we have the radish die, and, goodness, the other one is still on my Stamparatus. Yep. Not my Stamparatus, my die cutting machine. There we go. So that's handy. And now we're going to put this together. So watch. See how the basket now has that open spot there? I didn't like that, so I thought I would tuck the radish in. See? And now it's kind of filled up nicely. I like that. I could do another carrot beside it as well, but I think it's okay. So I'm going to just put some adhesive on the bottom here. And then I'm just going to flip the green so it sticks out a little bit. Gives a little bit of dimension. So here we go. That's going to stick all the way under. There. There we go. And then look. That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, let's add some adhesive here. You could pop this up too, but I thought I would leave it flat because I'm going to pop up the bag, the recycling bag next to it. Don't want a gap. There. Okay, now the bag. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. I'm going to put adhesive on the back of the bag, right here. And then I'm going to decide how far down the cabbage needs to go. There. That cabbage is going to make a lot of food for somebody. Ooh! It just went sliding on me. Okay, that's where I want it to go. I've got a little bit of adhesive, so what do? Just rub it on my hand. And it will just roll into a nice little thing, and in the garbage it goes. So now we're going to grab a few dimensionals. And you know what? I used up my full sheet of dimensionals yesterday, so let me grab a new one. Now I have a fun question for you. Where do you start when you have a new sheet of dimensionals? I generally start in the middle. Give it a little fold, and here we go. And I'm just going to put one here and one there, and that way I can tuck my tomatoes underneath. Let's have a look. Here we go. I want to put it a little bit down. There. And now we're going to just poke this. It's like the tomatoes kind of she took them out of the basket already. She's ready to put her groceries away. She's excited. And that's just going to go down flat. A little bit of adhesive. And just tuck it in there. And see how it's covered up taken the eye away from my crooked X's. Pardon the pun. Okay, so now we're ready to finish off our card. I'm going to take our crumb cake, and let me just use block to make that fold flat. Now I have to find my X's again. Here we go. And I need a long block. My long block is underneath my chamois. Pick it up. And then I'm going to turn it sideways, and we're going to ink this up with crumb cake. So there's a lot. You could do a lot with this cute stamp. Don't forget that you have it, and use it with your other stamps as well. So I'm going to lay that on there. And now I'll turn this one around. If you wanted it even lighter, you could stamp it in Versamark. There. And now we're just going to put this on and add a few gems, and we're all set. I just love it. I just love this card. It was Natalie who picked this set for August, so I want to give her credit. If she hadn't picked it, I wouldn't have bought it. It was not calling my name, and now I've had so much fun with it. So okay, now I have to find my gems because they're right here. Look at this. These are the gems that go with the set. They don't give them very exciting names. Transparent adhesive back dots. And it looks like a lemon lime twist and a blackberry bliss and a garden green and kind of almost a smoky slate. It's they're kind of a grayish white, so interesting. And I thought I would just put a couple in the corner here. That pulls out the color on the recycling bag, and I'm going to go with a lighter green on this one. Oh yeah, that's a pop. See, on the other card, I did the dark green. I kind of like the light green. We could add another dot somewhere, but I'm quite happy with just the way it is. And then in the inside, we could do a little strip of color again. See, I haven't done anything. You could put a white piece in the inside, or if you want to just save, you don't have to. We can just do this. And look at that. Good job, Jackie. Just simple. And then later on, I don't know if I don't have any extra die cuts, but if I did, I would do the carrots, maybe. You can fussy cut them too. So there's card number 1. And now we are going to make a folio. Now I started making one. Of course I can't find it. We'll start from scratch. Okay, so here is one that I started. It's not finished yet, but look, it opens up like this, and you can put note cards and envelopes inside, or you can do recipe cards. Now I haven't had a chance yet to go to the local dollar store for recipe cards, but when I do, I'll share them with you. The cool thing about this is that it uses a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and no adhesive. So it's really amazing. This is what you're going to need. You can take a screenshot, but it will also be in the description that you get, the PDF tutorial. So it's 12 by 12, and you're going to score at 2 inches, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, and 10 inches. Then you turn it around and you're scoring at 2 1/2 and 8 1/4. After we've done that, we fold up the corners to the score line on all 4 sides. The part that you fold up is going to be this part. So the part that you want your flap to be, that part, that's the part that you're going to fold up. Okay? So I thought that was a good thing to remember because I could never keep it straight in my head. So it is helpful to have a Simply Scored tool. Let me zoom out a smidge. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing in here. The Simply Scored tool comes with a scoring tool. So now we're going to go, I gotta get my paper again, at 2 inches and 10 inches. So 2 inches. Let's do that again. And 10 inches. Oh. Don't go too quick because then you fall out of the scoring thing. And then at 5 3/4, this is the spine, 5 3/4 and 6 1/4. So it will hold at least 6 note cards and envelopes, and I'll bet you at least 12 recipe cards. So now we're turning it like this, and we're going to score at 2 1/2 and 8 1/4. 2 1/2. Don't go too fast down the lines, otherwise you bump out of the trough. That's not what you want. So now, make sure you put this thing back in so you don't lose it afterwards. Ask me how I know. Okay, so now we're going to go on all the score lines here with the bone folder. And then, so that was the 2 inch. This is the spine in the middle, the 5 3/4 and the 6 1/4. Oops. Come on, Jackie. Don't make a mess of things. There we go. You can, oh, see, I made a mistake. Don't be in a hurry. That doesn't work. Okay? So now we have the spine, and now I need this other flap. You can double check to make sure you went straight. Make sure your edges are straight at the top. Okay, now we're going to do the 8 1/4 mark and the 2 1/2. 8 1/4 and 2 1/2. Okay. Now I want the green piece. Let's see. Why am I there? Perfect. I want this green piece to be my side flap. So now we're going to take the corners and bend them up right close to the score line. This isn't a measurement. Here. Sometimes you see the score line better. If you can't see it really well, put on glasses, go into brighter light, or make another fold. See, when I do this, I can kind of see that I could go a little bit further. But you know what? It's not an exact. It's really, don't stress out about it. Now we're going to this corner. There. And you know what? If you fold and it doesn't work, then you've gone too far. And then just fold again. See, I can't see this one quite as well. A little bit further. There. Okay, so now we're going to do this. Hold it. Now we're going to fold back. I'm hoping I did this right because I mess up sometimes. And now like this. Oh yeah, I did it right. Good job, Jackie. Okay, so now you tuck this one in here, like so, and this one in like so. And now don't worry about the little bubble business. That will right itself. Now we're going to fold it so your note cards and envelopes and everything will fix those little things. And now here. See, and now we have our little book. And now, so isn't that cute? Now we're going to make a belly band for it. And the belly band, let me get the measurements for that. So the belly band is 1 inch by 9.5. And you're going to lay it around your box, your folio, just loosely fold it around, see? And it doesn't have to be scored or anything because what we're going to do is just going to slide off. You can, if you want, we could emboss it to make it more interesting. But I think I'm going to be putting a thing over top so you won't see much of it. So I'm not going to emboss. I'm going to put some adhesive down and a little bit on this side. And you don't want to make it too tight because you want to be able to slide this off. You don't want to wreck things. You don't want to make it difficult for the person. I think this would make a great gift. Now, I like to just put a punch on it for a minute to let it sit. And then I have to decide what die I'm going to use. Now you want a focal point that you want to write something on. Now I would love it if we had a stamp that said recipes. We do not have a stamp that says recipes. If that is my one complaint about this stamp set, it would have been perfect to have the word recipes with this. So let's see. Okay, I think I've come up with a brainchild. So we can move that. And I'm using, look at that, I'm using this die. And that die came from, any guesses? Thoughtful Expressions. And there's so many here that I can barely fit them in. So I've used the third largest one. And I cut up the Thanks a Bunch, embossed on black. And now we're going to stamp For You in red, if I can find my real red. Oh my goodness. I found it. All right, For You. Tap, tap, tap. For You. A bunch. And then I don't know how well my basic black. Let's see. Okay, not bad. A bunch of there. I don't know if that looks silly. I'm going to pop those up with some black dimensionals. I'm just going to cut a little skinny strip. I might come up with something different. Yeah, I don't like my own writing. Someone else might like it very much. For You, a bunch of recipes. I think it looks really amateur. Yeah. Let me think about this. Okay, I'm going to try something different. I'm using Softly Said, and I want to use Celebrate. It could be Celebrate summer. It could be any kind of celebration. Celebrate life, celebrate a great harvest. So I'm going to stamp it in garden green. And then it does have that effect where you see that it's in different shades. That's normal. And then pecan pie. I don't want it to feel too Christmassy. There. And now in real red. Look at that. And now let's see how that looks. I'm just going to close up my ink pads so I don't get my elbow in them. And look. I like the look of that. That looks cool, doesn't it? Yeah. So now we're just going to, I just like to lay this like so I get an idea of how much adhesive I need. There. And then we're just going to get out our handy dandy punch and lay that on top. And you will see the photo in the PDF tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. That was epic. It was almost 37 minutes. So I hope that you find value in this. And please share with your friends if you're happy with what Natalie and I are doing. It's just a wonderful way for you to support us, and it's a wonderful way for us to share our creativity with you. Feel free to use these things that we make in your classes if you're teaching them. Please do not give out the links to the video tutorial or to the PDF tutorial. Those are for you. We work really hard for this, and so we would appreciate it that if you love it, that you just spread the word so that your people can also support us. $15, you can't even buy lunch for that. So I think that it's a really fair price, and I'm so happy that you've supported us. Thank you so much. You mean everything. All right. Have a super day. Bye.